I think I probably met Baba around 1950. It was through my husband, who had been a friend of Prince Machiavelli, and Norina was a part of the group at Myrtle Beach Center. So that I wrote to them, and they gave me Fred and Ella Winterfeldt's name, and who were with the New York group. And through that, I was able to help Marcia deduce when Baba came over, and she had interviews in her house. And the interviews lasted about 5 minutes each and went on for days and days. And we had many happy incidences. Baba and the girls had all been in a serious accident in Oklahoma, as I recall, in the center of the country, and with very severe injury. And Baba had a jaw injury, and his leg was in a cast. But he still, with the use of a chaise, gave these interviews at Mercedes, and as I said, they lasted about 5 minutes each, and hundreds of people came. And Baba used to get very thirsty, and a little fun incident was that he liked 7-Up, which we thought of as 7 degrees up or up in heaven or something, and he wanted it fixed a very particular way. One had to be without ice, and one had to be left in the refrigerator, one at room temperature and one at refrigerator temperature, and they had to be mixed. So 7,000 times a day I'd be fixing him for him, and one time I put in 2 that were the same thing, and he immediately sent it back. And he used to laugh and say that the mandali stole his drinks. So I took a beautiful, beautiful goblet of Mrs. Deuce's and put red roses on it and yellow roses and flowers and ribbons, and took it to the kitchen and filled it with the proper temperature of 7-Up and brought it in and threw the loop loosely over Baba's arm. And I said, "Well, Baba, now the mandali can't steal your drink." And of course everyone laughed, and he drank 1 swallow and still handed it to the mandali. The next incident I remember is that Charmian, Mercedes' daughter, was going to far Switzerland back with the girls on their return trip. And so I was asked to chauffeur Baba and the girls, who had all been in the hospital. First time that men had handled them or seen them without a veil, or been quite an experience in worldly things that Baba had wanted to give them on this trip. And so I had the job of taking them to the country house where they lived. And I, who had driven cars all my life and been an airplane pilot, still felt that it was like a nest of emeralds or something back there that was just too precious to take a chance on. So, knowing that Bob had been in silence 25 years and the girls were in a vow of silence, completely disappeared from my mind. And whether I spoke or not, I don't know to this day. But I said, "Baba, I'd love to come to India with you." Baba had been in silence for many years, and the girls were under a vow of silence. And who spoke, or whether anyone spoke, or whether it was completely osmosis even on my part, I don't know. But I said, "Baba, I would love to come to India and see you." And he said, "You will come if you're invited, and you will not come until you are invited." And I said, "Yes, Baba." And then Baba said, "There are 4 M's in the car. Marion was his name, Mani, Mara. My name was Marion." And I said, "Yes, Baba, that's true." And it was only hours later, after I delivered Baba to his place for the night, that I realized that everyone was in complete silence. Another incident of interest, perhaps, was when we were all in Myrtle Beach, and Margaret Krask and her beautiful group of Metropolitan Ballet dancers had put on a magnificent ballet. Even the choreography was original and done by a very great French artist. And Baba, full of surprises, asked the next night that Dr. Heyman and Dr. Chamberlain and my husband, Harry Florsheim, called Alligator Harry, should put on a play. And after this magnificent performance, everyone was completely embarrassed. So we ran downtown and we bought a lot of old crazy alligator trimmings and try to put on a fun thing, and Dana feels the baby with a bottle in his mouth in the baby carriage, and the fat mama and all that deal. But the prize of the evening was an episode about the removal of sanskaras. Dr. Heyman, who was always sleepy, was a sleepy doctor, American perhaps, and Dr. Chamberlain was a very alert doctor, and Mickey Harry Florsheim was a doctor from Vienna who spoke with his hands and all kinds of enunciations. And since he'd been a straight man, more or less, and an owner in the theater, he loved it. So he went down with the history of being one of the people that made God laugh, made Baba smile, and the tears ran down Baba's cheeks. And the episode was this. They wheeled in the operating table, and Heyman and Chamberlain were doing the operation. I don't know who the patient was. And Mickey, of course, was the expert from Vienna. And suddenly they pull out all these sausages, all these sanskaras, and relieved the man of all these sanskaras, and he was ready to be reunited with God. And the tears rolled down Baba's cheeks until he just couldn't stop. Not a sound, just tears, just of laughter. And then they presented him with a little tin alligator, and that was the end of the show. But it was a great hit and an awful lot of fun. Well, Alligator Harry passed away April the 4th of 1971, and I had beautiful cable from Monty and Mara saying that beloved Baba had called his very dear Alligator Harry home to him, and we were happy in Mickey's, that's my husband's name, joy. And I had used a memorial for him of Baba's. Let your lives themselves be my message of love and truth to others. Avatar Mayor Baba, Abhinagar, India, 1894-1969. Build thee more stately mansions, O my soul, as the swift seasons roll. Leave thy low vaulted past. Let each new temple, nobler than the last, shut thee from heaven, from a dome more vast, till thou at length art free, leaving thine outgrown shell by life's unresting seas. Beautiful tribute came from Mani and Mara, a love tribute to beloved Baba's energy. Each rose a happy memory of his own Alligator Harry, who made Baba smile, who made God smile. And this was the episode in Myrtle Beach when they put on the play. Somehow, suddenly, Baba gave me the name of energy, and I've been ever since trying to figure out on what plane it exists and trying to pull it up to a spiritual one, because it has many, many connotations. Over the years, I've had many cables from Baba and from the family, and one beautiful one in October '54. I live eternally. Be happy in loving me and sharing my work by spreading my message of love. I am always with you all. Deep love. And then one again from Merazad in 1961, Abhinagar, February 9th. I am the one who is always lost and always found among mankind. It is your love for yourself that loses me, and it is your love for me that finds me. Love me above everything, for now, while I am in your midst, I am most easily found as I really am. Signed, Mayor Baba. And I'd like to kind of finish with Baba's credo. I am not come to establish any cult, society, or organization, nor even to establish a new religion. The religion that I shall give teaches the knowledge of the one behind the many. The book that I shall make people read is the book of the heart that holds the key to the mystery of life. I shall bring about a happy blending of the head and the heart. I shall revitalize all religions and cults and bring them together like beads on one string. Mayor Baba. I had come to Baba probably in about 1950 from a Protestant background. I'd studied the Arcane Society, Rosicrucianism, found a great deal of truth in Theosophy and many, many things. And I'd gotten to the point where I asked to meet a perfect master. And suddenly I could see miracles happening, many small miracles, and through Count Machiavelli's wife and through Myrtle Beach, I met the New York group and finally met Baba. And then he asked me in 1956, or I'm so bad on dates, he asked me to be in charge of his trip when he came from the east, and he and the mandali were here for a long time, and we chartered a plane and had headquarters at Delmonico Hotel, and then went on to Myrtle Beach and on to San Francisco from Los Angeles, and then he continued his trip around the world. And it was a great experience, and I think from the beginning to the end, all of which was done by contributions, that it took perhaps 2 years to continue and finish the work and file away all the papers. It was a great service, and I feel that really my part with Baba has been being used as a helpmate, in a small capacity to help with a great divine person's work. I had asked to meet a perfect master. I met the avatar. I saw many small miracles, but Baba told us not to ask for watch for miracles. But I did ask for one after my husband passed. I asked that not Christ, not Baba, but that Mickey himself come to me and assure me that all was well, and that he was well. And the most divine feeling of bliss, all loss of sickness and ill health, all loss of trivial hardships of life had passed, and there was eternal peace and eternal beauty and a passing on to what is the next part of incarnation. And to me, this in itself, as an asking of something pretty near beyond the pale, was a wonderful, wonderful miracle. Thank you. My name is Marion Florsheim, and I live in New York. And this is August 1971. And I just want to tell you that it just seemed to me that Baba was a miracle worker, and there was a peace and satisfaction and beauty that came through him that did satisfy me that I had met the avatar and a perfect master, which I had asked for, and that he has left peace and done a great, great blessing to the world. He spent many years in solitude. He had his own reasons far beyond any human conception. And I think that if he hadn't arrived, the world would have destroyed itself. Baba gave in India and in the United States, across the country. And he didn't listen to woes and anguish or anything else. They were given in silence. His interpretation was by hand movements through Eric, and he gave always prasad, a little gift of something that he could put in a person's hand or in their mouth that they swallowed, as though it was a gift of love, and let them understand somehow that the problems of the world were universal and that they solved them as they went along. He felt that every man was where he belonged, and that he was in incarnation where he rightfully belonged, and he should serve well there, that he should be honest, that he should tell the truth, that he should do his best.
What did Baba say to some of the people that came?
He would make hand gestures of love. I don't remember him saying anything except just giving prasad and giving his blessing, and they came in India by thousands, as fast as they could go by. It was a very beautiful sight, seeing all the costumes of India from all the different systems and all the different classes, which Baba had tried so hard and was abolishing. And he worked very hard with the lepers, he worked very hard with the children, the orphans. He did great good. He did all the things that Christ did in his time. And to me, he is the incarnation of Christ. He is the God that was sent to save the world from destroying itself at this time. I feel that right now, when we have had the new trip to the moon and seen that the moon has gone on 4 million years and going on 4 million more, that we have lost all fear of anything that comes from outer sources. And it's up to us to build our lives, live in peace, and to contribute to God's work. I was in India in 1956 with a great group of Americans, people from Australia and England, all over the world. And Baba gave beautiful convocations. I've forgotten what I was to say. 56, when we were in Pune, three women were living in one hotel suite, and at night some burglar came in and stole our purses, but with our passports and all our money and everything else, traveler's checks. And some of the groups kept urging me to go immediately to the American embassy and declare that my passport was gone because the Chinese were coming in and they were valuable to the Chinese. But Baba kept saying, wait, wait, wait. And of course, the last moment that I could wait, the purses appeared. They had been found in the garden under a bush, and some child or children perhaps had stolen the valuables, and the important papers were all returned. During that time, I went to the chief of police and was shown a letter from the president, as I recall it, of Mexico. I did have a chance to see somewhat the persecution in one small form that the avatar, the mandali, and his family went through when I was in Pune. My purse and that of the two ladies that were residing with me in Pune was stolen in the night by some thief, and our passports and jewelry and traveler's checks and everything. And we were urged to go immediately to the American consul, which Baba kept saying, relax, don't worry, it will all be all right. And the moments went on, and everybody was anxious to be sure because the Chinese were invading India and the passports were very valuable to them. And we had a duty to the American consul to report. However, the last night they were found under a bush, and the passports at least were returned. During that incident, I called on the chief of police of Pune, whose daughter later visited me in New York. She's married now to an airline pilot of Air India. And we had all become friends, and he had promised that his family would visit me. I went with Henry Kashauti, and we were shown a letter from the president, a letter sent to the president of India by someone Baba had warned us was persecuting him across the country. I think the letter was unsigned, and in it were all the obscenities and uglinesses of the misconduct of the mandali and the family and the women in Baba's family and of Baba himself, all of which was completely untrue. A little vision of the ugliness and the viciousness in the world whenever God tries to do a good job.
What kind of accusations?
The accusations were against character, against morals, as though it was a group of prostitution. They were very ugly, and I'm only telling it because it shows that persecution is so universal. This is the universal mind right now, and it has to be cleaned. I think this is why Baba was here, to help purify and lead us on to the next step. Otherwise, I'm sure we'd all have been destroyed ourselves by now.